Welcome to another Spotlight video where we guide you through the Autonomic Nervous System spotlight in your text. After watching this video, you should be able to describe how the Autonomic Nervous System regulates the body's basic life support systems without conscious control. Have you ever wondered how pupils automatically dilate when entering a dark room, or how a person's heart rate increases during exercise without thinking about it? To understand the autonomic nervous system, or ANS, it's best to review this image overviewing the entirety of the nervous system. Remember, the central nervous system, or CNS, which is the brain and spinal cord, receives sensory information from the afferent division of the peripheral nervous system. Within the CNS, this information is integrated, processed, and coordinated into motor commands that flow away from the CNS in what is termed the efferent division of the peripheral nervous system. The efferent division of the peripheral nervous system directs motor control over the effector organs. The somatic nervous system controls skeletal muscle. Motor commands controlling other effectors, such as smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, glands, and adipose tissue, however, are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. The somatic and autonomic nervous systems are both branches of the efferent division of the peripheral nervous system. They differ, however, in that the somatic nervous system regulates voluntary control over skeletal muscle, while the autonomic nervous system regulates involuntary control over all other effector organs. The autonomic nervous system has parasympathetic and sympathetic divisions. The parasympathetic division controls activity during times without stress and times of low metabolic activity, such as decreased heart rate and blood pressure. Physiologists use the phrase rest and digest for these times. The sympathetic division, conversely, controls times of stress, as in the fight or flight response that prepares the body for emergencies, times when higher heart rates and blood pressures are required. This image compares the functional organizations of the somatic and autonomic nervous systems. Notice how the somatic nervous system controls skeletal muscle with a single lower motor neuron. Contrast this with the organization of the autonomic nervous system, where motor neurons of the CNS, termed preganglionic neurons, synapse with postganglionic neurons in autonomic ganglia, clusters of neuron cell bodies outside of the CNS. An examination of the spotlight figure provides for a more detailed description of the autonomic nervous system. The image on the left, the sympathetic division, illustrates how the fibers of the preganglionic neurons emerge from the thoracic and lumbar regions of the spinal cord. The image on the right, conversely, demonstrates how the fibers of the parasympathetic division originate from the pons and medulla oblongata of the brainstem, as well as only a portion of the sacral region of the spinal cord. Finally, it's important to understand neurotransmitters. At the sympathetic ganglion, acetylcholine, or ACH, is released, stimulating the postganglionic fiber to release epinephrine or norepinephrine. In the parasympathetic division, however, ACH is released at both the parasympathetic ganglion as well as the target effector organ. Keep in mind that depending on the type of receptor, these neurotransmitters can be either excitatory or inhibitory. Apply what was discussed earlier to answer the following question. An anatomy and physiology student's professor announces a pop quiz. As the professor distributes the quiz, the student's heart rate and blood pressure increase. Their response is from which of the following nervous system divisions? A. Somatic nervous system. B. Afferent nervous system. C. Sympathetic nervous system. D. Parasympathetic nervous system. If you answered C, sympathetic nervous system, you are correct. Increased heart rate and blood pressure is a fight or flight response, and under control of the sympathetic nervous system. In summary, the autonomic nervous system has a sympathetic division, controlling fight or flight responses, and a parasympathetic division that regulates times of resting and digesting. The ANS is organized with preganglionic neurons that synapse with postganglionic neurons in the autonomic ganglia. Sympathetic fibers arise from the thoracic and lumbar regions of the spinal cord, while parasympathetic arise from the pons, medulla oblongata, and portions of the sacral region of the spinal cord. So what? Why is it important to understand the autonomic nervous system? Well, this knowledge is crucial to understanding how many medications work. For example, located on the plasma membrane of the smooth muscle of the respiratory tract are parasympathetic receptors called beta-2 receptors. Stimulating these receptors result in smooth muscle relaxation. So, inhaling a drug that is a beta-2 agonist, such as albuterol, will relieve the symptoms of an asthma attack. But these drugs still influence the sympathetic receptors on cardiac muscle, causing an increase in heart rate, a common side effect of inhaling albuterol. Understanding the autonomic nervous system provides an understanding of how drugs work, along with their side effects.